Hi, my name is Annamieka, and this is the Art Friends Show, where every conversation focuses on getting to know the essence of creativity itself. I'd love to invite you as well to join me inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics and join in with other art friends around the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to the show. Welcome to the Art Friends Show. Here's an artist you're gonna love to know. Today we are going live with Alicia Schultz of Vine and Thistle. And Alicia is in real life one of my close humans, and I'm so excited that she's joining us today. Here she is. My name is Annamieka. Come on every day for an Instagram Live Art Friend interview. There you are.
Hello.
Hi, Alicia. Hello. Welcome to the Art Friends Show, where we get to talk about making friends with our own creativity and meet different artists and learn about your practice.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Will you tell folks where you live and a couple of things you like to make?
Yeah. So I am in Portland, Oregon, and I kind of consider myself a dabbler, but I am really inspired by hand lettering, botanicals, and lots of flowers and stuff, as you can see. Also colors. So like fun color combinations. I've really tried to be purposeful about really recognizing what colors bring me alive and what unique color combinations I like. And I'm really inspired to by stationery. So anything from like holiday cards that you send at Christmas time with your family photo on it and a little hand lettered thing, to like greeting cards. And then I'm trying to get into fabric a little bit. I've got some like makeup bags coming out with a company here in the spring, I believe. And then murals. I like the, bright colors, big botanicals, and I have actually a couple of those coming up in the next month and a half that I'm going to be working on.
So exciting. I love watching you. We've known each other for a long time now and grown professionally together, and to watch you take your skills of drawing and design and product development, and also be able to work on a micro level. You have such a keen sense of quality. I remember how discerning you've been about any type of stationery you produce, the paper, the print quality, all of that. And then to watch you extrapolate that and go onto murals and locally, like I was just driving north in Portland and I saw your mural at, the shop where you just did the big window. And I'm just
Urban
like, I love seeing
yeah.
your work out there on a massive scale, and also your attention to detail, even at the smallest level, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun to it's just fun to be in a variety of, I'm just a dabbler. Like I could be really good at one thing if I just did that one thing, but I can't do that. I don't work that way.
Yeah.
I want to see it in lots of places.
Totally.
I want to do lots of different things. So
yeah. Also, your signature color style has always been a thing. You have it's an incredible command of color, and it's like, people, you got to know, Alicia, you don't like look at trends and do that. You do that from yourself, and then what I notice is the world catches up with you.
Yeah. I'm definitely a lover of I call them ugly colors sometimes. I mean, I even like this green color that's on here. It's like baby poop color sometimes, And actually, I've read some things that say, studies that say, men actually, despise this color. But I'm like, what else? It doesn't work with your eyes or something. There's something triggering about it. I don't, but for me, that makes me very happy. So I put it in, I'm like, where can I use it?
Yeah, and all these beautiful things. That's so cool. Can you tell me a little bit about just the magic of putting your work out there?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, like I really believe in like that, like kind of making the stuff you want to, you know, you want to make more of. And I can't really help myself, like, you know, when I open my sketchbook and I'm just doing like that kind of mindless, you know, play,
Yeah.
like that's the work, you know, that then I want to develop more. And what I've noticed is as I continue to trust that, like, and continue to follow that and really pay attention to like, what is it that I'm making when I'm just warming up or when I'm like, you know, doing that kind of like non-work stuff. And then that's what I want to follow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I oftentimes work in my sketchbook and I have like, I mean, my sketchbooks end up looking a lot, they're like a lot of botanicals, a lot of hand lettering. They don't look great, like I don't make perfect sketchbooks, but then I take that work and I digitize it and Procreate. But a lot of times, like, it's not necessarily for anybody. Like, it's not like I'm making it so that I can license it or making it so that because I've got this mural project. Like once I've got a job, like sometimes it changes, like that making changes, pressure changes. So it's nice for me to like have this collection of stuff that I'm, you know, making that then I can pull from for later. Or like the other day, when we were hanging out the other night, I, you know, was just doing that, like, I got a new actually here it is. I have it right here. I got a new sketchbook. I had these made by the Denise company. But I was like, the first page, you know, I'm just like playing and, you know, doing this like as we're talking, like there's no like deep thought into it. It's just like kind of more intuitive. And then the next morning I, you know, did a bunch of work and then I was like, okay, I need a little break. I've been, you know, kind of playing with the process of how I do some things on Procreate. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll use this art to kind of play with that process. So I ended up spending like an hour digitizing it, threw it up onto Instagram, and the next day I get an email from a company that I work with, and they want to use the work and buy the work from me for you know, for my work. I'm like, okay, and they're pretty much like, we like how it is, and it's like, okay, that's awesome. Like that was work that I just made. Like it was like, you know, true. That's what I want to do. I want my work that's like truly me to be the work that, you know, I get paid to make. Like even, you know, it's like, it's that hand in hand, you know, like making where I'm not like, you know, it's just me. That's fun.
So it's so exciting. I feel like as your friend sitting next to you chatting and, you know, while you're essentially doodling, I mean, you're drawing it, you're making it intentionally, but to watch that and then have you tell me that story, you're like, they bought it, like just like that. I mean, to watch you arrive at that moment in your career where you have such an innate sense of who you are and what you make, and you have a practice of sharing that also feels like natural in your rhythm of life, and they're able to share it, and then that's getting you more work. And I mean,
well, murals are kind of the same way. Like I really like I would love it if we lived in a city where all the walls were painted with art and bright colors and, you know, inspiring words or words that make you stop and think or images that make you stop and think and, you know, just kind of expose you to other ways of thinking, you know, and I would love to share, you know, my work in big scale. So like, you know, just making a lot of times I see a blank building. The other day I was out in the city and I saw, like, I was just walking. I had 2 blocks to walk to my car, and I think I got 6 photos of walls that I was like, there should be a mural there. There should be a mural there. There should be a mural there.
Yeah.
And then I come home and I'm like, throw those into Procreate and drop some art on it because I'm like, wouldn't that look cool if it was all flowers, like a big bouquet, or it was these words, or, you know, like, and so sometimes it's just like me playing with like dreaming, like I'm trying to like, you know, share with the world like what I'm seeing as I'm walking down the road and see a blank wall, you know.
Yeah.
And that probably has helped me, you know, because it helps people envision, oh, that would look cool, you know, to have that a mural by this person, you know, on a wall, you know.
Yeah, you're helping people be able to see it too. You have a really good skill set. If you scroll her feed, you'll see those mock-ups on walls, and some of those are mock-ups, some of those are actual murals you painted because you're also good at executing them. Sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry. I am a super fan of you.
Thank
Can we take a moment and be proud of you for getting here? Can you tell us about that a little bit? Just this.
Yeah. So I've been like in kind of a place of reflection lately, just like thinking back. I think some of it's like, people we look at Instagram and then we're like, wow, like this person's really making it, and sometimes we forget, like, yeah, they didn't just wake up and they're like, wow, I'm amazing, like I'm doing all these amazing things,
Yeah.
like it takes years of practice, and I'm really proud of myself for like what I've done, like I don't have formal training as an artist. Like I went to school to be an elementary school teacher. It was kind of the safest, most guaranteed work for my situation. Like that was what I needed to do. And then, kind of with the help of my partner being able to like kind of carry us for a while, I was able to take time off of working and leave my previous job and, just over many years build this up.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's been, I'm a mother of, I have a 10 and a 6-year-old, so like, 10 years of being a mother and trying to create this thing for myself. And, like, it's a lot of work, like, and, we have, I'm proud of myself for like, taking this risk that I couldn't take when I was younger and probably had so many signs of like creative routes to go, and I just like I just couldn't take those risks then. But then I've created the path for me to be able to do that, and now I'm doing it. Like it's exciting stuff. Like it's exciting to know that I could do this, and it's inspiring to know, like, I mean, if I can do it, like if you're following what's true to you, you can do it too. Anyone can do that, Or I hope, I know my circumstances might be a little bit different.
Well, and you've leaned into your skill sets that you're, in terms of designing and entering stationery, design challenges, and then building a base and doing all of this client work with murals and designing your own products, and always having a personal sense of integrity with your own style, as well as the products and collaborations you do to make sure there's a quality out there. And I mean, I remember watching you before we were friends at the Buckman Art Show in Cell, and your work looked really, really good then. And that was like, what? Thinking back on it, it's so cool to see that through line. And I think that's one of the most exciting things, is to watch you grow, and just to think, like, if that was however many years ago, now, like, think about, 8, 9, 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Can you tell us about retreats and even like kind of a full circle moment, or?
Yeah. So, yeah, I actually just had this realization the other day. So we, you, me, and our little amazing group of women have been hanging out since summer of 2015, and also we've kind of had like the, like the other night when we were hanging out, we're like, remember how we met? And we're all telling like our origin stories, which is just like, a big hug. It's so wonderful, and it's crazy to think, like, it feels like yesterday that, like, you showed up at my Crafty Wonderland booth and introduced yourself, and then I was like, okay, I gotta go find her, like, I need to get her information, she's gotta be one of my people, like, but like, I set out, I was like, I want these women, like I started meeting all these fantastic women, and I was like, I want them to be friends. And so, I was like, I mean, I'm like awkward and, kind of, I'm introverted and, like, so it was work for me to like, be like, okay, like when I met Jules, and the whole time we were in this little free workshop, and I was thinking, I got to get her Instagram, and this is like back in 2015. It's kind of like, Instagram wasn't as like, it was more personal. It was like that kind of phase in when it's starting to become maybe business, but not quite, you know, like, and I'm like, I gotta get her Instagram. I gotta like get connected with her so I don't lose her. Like I want her, you know, I want to find a way. So so I wanted to build this group of us that could gather and like just make and just have this place to be together. And then eventually, you know, to do these art retreats where we go. My dream was to go out to the coast, and you know, it was inspired because back before I lived in Portland, I lived in New York City, and I was teaching there, and my like creative outlet was photography. I did a ton of street photography, and I followed this group called the Shutter Sisters, which was a bunch of amazing women, and it was in the blogging time. So before Instagram, we were on blogs, you know, and I was blogging, and they were blogging, and there was this kind of core group of women who were more established, a little bit older than I was, you know, and they were like gathering and whatnot. And then some of the photographers joined this retreat on the Oregon coast back like before 2010. Probably it had to be after between 2008 and 2012, sometime in between there. And you know, they just had this beautiful gathering of women of various like, you know, successful or creative women, you know, and I was like I want that, you know, like I want to create that. And then, you know, like by 2015, I was like, wait, we can create, like, we can create that. We can make this happen. And so when we started gathering, and I remember I think we were gathered, and I was like, hey, you guys, like, what I really want to do is, like, let's do a weekend on the coast or something. And I think that, like, I feel like I remember saying that to you, I think. And then you're like, yes, let's do it. And so, you know, we started making it happen, and it's been an annual thing that we've done. And this year, as we're like getting ready for our art retreat, we, you know, invited some people, you know, some other friends outside of our group, and one of the people was someone who was in that original group, possibly even the one organizing that original group of women who went out on the coast, Kelly Ray Roberts, and I like sent her an invitation, and then I like emailed her after like just yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just remembered, like, you were part of the inspiration for why I even like started doing this, because like I saw you creating this beautiful thing and I wanted to do it too.
Yes. It's such a full circle moment to realize, like, we're all on the path and we all have the power, right? And when we see people giving us an example of how we want to create this career or create this lifestyle as artists in this niche of self-represented art brands, it's like it's not a linear path. We're like going around, and then it's such a small world. We end up co-creating. I just love that moment for you too, because I feel like I've watched you really come into your ownership of like being a character in the story, if that makes sense. Instead of like watching. Does that?
Yeah.
I hope you're following. Sometimes I'll just really go through metaphors. And I remember, you know, because I've been teaching in this art field for a while, and so most years when we go on retreat with our small closed group of intimate friends, I'll do a public post and I'll say, if you see this and you yearn for this, like, here's how this happened. Basically, we thoughtfully stalked each other, started hosting like open picnics in the park where we would make art, followed up. Thank goodness Alicia has the logistical planning skills, or I would not have friendships like this, because she has the logistical planning skills. I
mean, it's all selfish. I was just like, I want to see these people. I'm going to make it happen.
Then plan your retreats, and like, you know, it's never personal when people can't do it or aren't available for it, but eventually you'll have kind of this, you can cultivate this community. And I've seen, you know, people do it all over. Obviously that's just making friends 101, but I think particularly in our profession where we work in an isolated way with our own thoughts, a lot of us are deeply introspective and reflective. We still need connection. And so I think, you know, our our tradition being inspired originally by, you know, people like Kelly Ray and Mady and everyone who was, you know, out there hustling a decade before we were. I just appreciate you sharing that full circle moment for yourself where you're like, oh.
Well, and I think there's like so much power too, and I don't know if I would be here without our group of friends. Like, I don't know if I would have, like, you know, there are vulnerable, it's very vulnerable to be an artist, right? And especially when you're like figuring it out on your own, then, you know, like, it's, am I doing it right? Like, am I doing it right? What's the right way? You know, like, there's so many of these questions, and then together as we're like working through the stuff, and we realize, well, you know, like, it doesn't matter if you're doing it right, like, you're doing it, like, just keep going, and we're able to like cheer each other on. And, you know, a lot of times, like, you know, we'll be like, everything, it's, I mean, even with you, I know, like, I've talked about how you have this magic of like, you know, I'll just like dump all this information, and then you're like, oh, here's what you're saying in this beautiful little package, and I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying. But it's like, it's nice to have like that feedback from someone, because it's right in front of us, but it's not, it doesn't always feel so obvious because everything's right in front of us, you know. And so having each other to be like, hey, this is what I see that's shining, this is, and like helping us like pick out those things that are making us come alive, and you know, helping us verbalize that, and, you know, dream, and, you know, it's been, you know, I feel like it's, I couldn't be here without our group of women who have just, you know, aren't just my art friends, like some of my closest, like some of the closest friends that I've been able to be like my truest self with, which is an insanely special gift that also takes a long time to build too.
It takes and like, I love you so much. I mean, I wouldn't be here interviewing you live on Instagram. There are so many ways, the depth of friendship that is built, but also by understanding that this thing, what we're doing here in our walls that are plastered with our art, and our brains that are constantly serving up ideas that we're constantly deciding I can act on and cause this to happen in the world, that's got to wait. You know, having kindred spirits who really get that because they live it themselves is life-changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is so needed in this, and then I just want to just tell everyone how much I love you. And
I love you too. I mean, I'm still in the space sometimes where I'm like, I can't believe they're friends with me. Like, I can't believe Annamieka's friends with me. She hangs out with me.
Oh my God. Well, you know, and we really got to go through some of it this year with, you know, helping me like move out of my house, and like those times when you're just really like, okay, we've got each other. Like, yes, I'll give you feedback on your art, and like, do you need help?
Yeah.
Like, so let's see, how are we going to wrap this? Obviously, you need to come on the show again, because there's so many other things that I want to talk about with you. But for now, you do have a couple of local things coming up. Do you have a show coming up?
Yeah. So I am doing Crafty Wonderland this spring. I believe it's the weekend of around May 5th. I'm like, oh wait, I don't actually know the dates, but it's like that first weekend in May at the convention center. I haven't done I did a little in-person show as a kind of a warm-up on the Nike World headquarters campus the other day, which was really fun. But I haven't done in-person shows for a long time. So it'll be fun to see folks like come out. So if you're available and you want to come see, I am like a bright pop of color and florals and inspiration. So you can come check out my little booth at Crafty in May. And then I've got a few fun murals coming up. Actually, next week I start one at the Selwood Community House. And if if you're not familiar with it, it's a really cool place. I am so inspired by the work that they're doing there for the community, and I will be installing a mural that you'll be able to see when you come in the door, and it'll be straight all the way through to the back, and it should be a joyful little pop of color and flowers for the community to enjoy. And then I have another one going in an apartment building along Milwaukee in the Brooklyn neighborhood, and that will be later this spring, like later April or beginning of May.
Yeah.
And that one should be fun too, because it's in the lobby and you'll be able to see it from the street because it's like all windows. So that should be pretty fun to be able to drive up that road.
That big
What?
new apartment building that they're building, like, oh my gosh, my cousin lives. Oh, that's so cool. I love being able to drive by all your murals all the time.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so many exciting things coming up, and if you need help painting your murals, I would love to.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to come help me. I'm like, that's one of my favorite parts of painting.
Deliver kombucha and drinks. Murals are a ton of work, y'all. If you ever see an artist anywhere doing a mural, give them
right.
Eat them, nourish them. Okay, that's my. And you know, in like 6th grade, my cultural connections project, I interviewed all the muralists in my hometown.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I've just been doing this basically my whole life.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, darling. Well, let's wrap this one up. And thank you so much. And everyone, this is Alicia Schultz of Vine and Thistle, and I'm Annamieka Hops. We're both in Portland, Oregon, and thanks for coming on the Art Friend Show.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd love to have you inside of Art Friend School, where we go deeper into these topics. Follow the link that's in the show notes or find it on my website at annamieka.com.